Welcome to a world that feels almost unreal. A planet filled with places so strange, so otherworldly, that it challenges everything you thought you knew about Earth. From glowing deserts and mountains, painted by time itself, to forests that defy gravity and lakes that seem alive. These are the 50 most alien places on our planet. Prepare to journey to the edges of reality, where nature becomes surreal, breathtaking, and sometimes terrifying. This is Earth, as you've never seen it before. Imagine standing in a place so strange, so otherworldly, that your mind refuses to believe it exists on Earth. A place where colors shift like illusions, where landscapes look sculpted by something far beyond human imagination. This is not science fiction. These places are real. And today, you're about to step into a world that feels like it shouldn't belong to our planet. If you're ready to see Earth at its most unreal, then keep watching, because what comes next will challenge everything you thought you knew about nature. Our journey begins in Ethiopia's Danakil Depression, a blistering cauldron of vibrant yellows, neon greens, and furious bubbling pools. The ground here hisses with steam, the air is heavy with sulfur, and the landscape ripples like an alien planet. Even satellites once mistook it for something extraterrestrial. Volcanoes, salt flats, and acidic springs collide to create one of the harshest and strangest places on Earth. Standing here feels like stepping onto a forbidden world, a reminder that Earth still holds mysteries untouched by time. From Ethiopia's heat, we travel to Bolivia's Salar de Uyuni, where reality dissolves into a mirror. When the rains come, the world turns into a perfect reflection of the sky. You don't walk forward here, you drift into infinity. It's one of the few places where you can stand between two skies. Astronauts have said that looking at Uyuni from space feels like staring at a giant mirror placed on the face of the planet. For travelers, it feels like floating inside a dream. Next, we descend into the blood-red waters of Lake Natron in Tanzania. This lake is so alkaline, it can calcify anything that falls into it. Birds that misjudge the landing spot become preserved statues frozen in time. The color shifts from bright crimson to deep scarlet depending on the light, creating the eerie illusion of a lake filled with liquid fire. Yet, despite its deadly nature, flamingos thrive here, turning danger into life, a reminder that even the strangest environments can bloom with beauty. Our fourth stop takes us to the surreal painted hills of Zhangye in China. Layer upon layer of multicolored sandstone forms, stripes of red, orange, yellow, and blue. Weathering and minerals turn these mountains into a natural rainbow. When the sun rises, the hills glow like molten gold. When clouds pass, the colors shift like a living painting. No artist could recreate its patterns. This place feels handcrafted by the Earth's own creativity. And finally, for this chapter, we enter the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. 40,000 hexagonal basalt columns perfectly arranged as if calculated by a mathematician. Legend says they were built by an ancient giant. Science says they were formed by volcanic cooling. Either way, standing between these geometric pillars feels unreal, like walking through the remains of an ancient alien civilization. Earth is full of secrets, hidden landscapes where nature abandons logic and embraces the impossible. This is just the beginning. As we continue, we'll travel deeper into forests that glow in the dark, deserts that sing, islands that move, and mountain ranges shaped like colossal waves. The world is far stranger than we imagine, and the journey ahead will only get wilder. What if I told you there are places on Earth so bizarre, so impossible looking, that even scientists struggle to explain them? Places where light bends, rocks move on their own, and entire forests glow like galaxies. In this chapter, we continue our descent into Earth's strangest landscapes, worlds that seem to belong to a different planet entirely. If Chapter 1 amazed you, Chapter 2 will leave you questioning the limits of reality itself. Our journey begins in New Mexico's White Sands, an endless desert of pure, shimmering gypsum. Unlike regular sand, these dunes are sugar white and cool to the touch. When the sun hits them, the desert turns into a sea of glowing crystal waves. At sunset, the sky washes the dunes in pink and lavender, transforming the landscape into something that feels impossibly soft, almost weightless. Walking here is like stepping inside a dream made of light. From glowing dunes, we move to Japan's Aokigahara Forest, one of the quietest places on Earth, beneath the shadow of Mount Fuji. This dense forest absorbs sound in an eerie, almost supernatural way. The moss-covered roots twist and coil like ancient serpents, while ice caves and lava tunnels lie hidden beneath the forest floor. Aokigahara feels frozen in time, as if the forest itself is holding its breath. It's beautiful, unsettling, and deeply mysterious, a place where silence becomes its own landscape. Next, we head to Turkey's Pamukkale, a surreal staircase of white mineral pools. The terraces look like frozen waterfalls sculpted from ice, but the pools themselves are warm, filled with mineral-rich thermal water that has flowed for thousands of years. When sunlight reflects off the white calcium carbonate, the entire mountainside glows like polished marble. It's as if nature created its own luxurious spa, long before humans learned the meaning of comfort. Then we travel deep into the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth. Here, in a landscape that almost never sees rain, the ground cracks into geometric patterns, and salt crystals form jagged, alien-like structures across the valleys. At night, the skies transform into the clearest window to the universe found anywhere on the planet. The stars don't just appear, they burn with impossible brightness, illuminating the desert in a way that makes you question whether you're still on Earth or floating between galaxies. Our next destination defies all logic. The Sailing Stones of Death Valley. In this cracked desert plain, massive rocks somehow move across the ground, leaving long trails behind them as if dragged by an invisible force. For decades, no one knew how they moved. Some said aliens, others said unseen energy fields. Today, we know thin layers of ice and wind push them quietly overnight. But standing here, staring at a rock that moved hundreds of feet on its own, you still feel the mystery. You still feel the strangeness of a world where even stones travel. To close this chapter, we journey to Mexico's Cave of the Crystals, one of the most astonishing underground worlds ever discovered. Buried deep below the surface lies a chamber filled with colossal selenite crystals, some longer than buses, others taller than houses. The air inside is unbearably hot and dense, making it impossible to stay for more than a few minutes without special equipment. But in that short time, you witness something unforgettable. A room made entirely of giant, glowing crystals that look like they were grown by an ancient alien civilization. From glowing deserts to silent forests, from icy minerals to wandering stones, Earth continues to reveal landscapes that defy explanation. These places remind us that the world is still wild, still unpredictable, still capable of stunning us beyond imagination. And as unbelievable as these destinations are, the next chapter will take us even deeper into the impossible. Imagine stepping into a place where the laws of nature seem rewritten, where colors behave differently, horizons warp, and the ground beneath you feels alive. Chapter 3 takes you into landscapes that push the boundaries of what Earth should be able to create. These aren't just strange places. They're mind-bending realities that make you question everything you thought you knew about our planet. We begin in Ethiopia's Danakil Depression, often called the most alien place on Earth. Here, volcanic craters ooze neon acids, bubbling pools glow radioactive yellow, and mineral towers form shapes that look sculpted by another world. Steam vents hiss from beneath your feet as the ground shifts and cracks. The air burns with heat, and the landscape feels like the birthplace of some extraterrestrial realm. In this place, Earth feels young, dangerous, and completely alive. From fire and acid, we suddenly plunge into a world of living light. New Zealand's Waitomo glowworm caves. Deep underground, Thousands of glowing organisms cling to the cave ceilings, forming a sparkling galaxy of blue lights. When the water drifts silently beneath them, it looks like a night sky reflected in a river that flows through darkness. The glowworms illuminate the cave like bioluminescent stars, turning one of nature's simplest creatures into an artist painting with light. Here, silence feels magical, like floating through the universe without ever leaving Earth. Next, we travel to Zhangye Dangxia in China, the rainbow mountains that look like someone poured giant buckets of paint across an entire mountain range. Layers of red, gold, green, and violet stripe the hills in a pattern so precise and surreal that it hardly seems natural, but it is. Formed over millions of years, these colors come from different layers of sandstone and minerals, compressed and uplifted by Earth's restless movements. When sunrise touches the hills, the mountains ignite with color, revealing a geological masterpiece crafted slowly, grain by grain. From painted mountains, we move to a place where water behaves like Mercury. Bolivia's Salar de Uyuni, the largest salt flat in the world. During dry season, it's a blindingly white desert of cracked hexagonal patterns. But when rain arrives, even just a thin layer of water turns the entire salt flat into a perfect mirror. Suddenly, the sky duplicates itself, and you can't tell where the real world ends and the reflection begins. People standing on the flats look like they're floating in an endless sky. Vehicles appear to hover above the earth. Salar de Uyuni doesn't just defy gravity, it erases it. Our next stop is Indonesia's Ijen volcano, home to one of the rarest natural phenomena on Earth: electric blue fire. At night, the sulfuric gases ignite as they escape from the crater, creating glowing blue flames that streak down the mountainside like liquid sapphire. It's not lava, it's burning gas, glowing in the dark like something stolen from a science fiction fantasy. The air smells sharp, the rocks shimmer with minerals, and the entire crater feels like a portal into the unknown. Leaving fire behind, we journey into ice Patagonia's marble caves in Chile. Carved by thousands of years of waves, these caves glow with swirling blue patterns that shift as light reflects off the water. Inside, the marble looks almost translucent, lit from beneath by turquoise water so clear it seems unreal. As you drift through the tunnels, the walls appear to move and change shades of blue, creating a hypnotic dance of color and stone. The cave feels like a sacred cathedral, sculpted by water and time. Our chapter ends in a frozen desert unlike any other, Russia's Oymyakon region, one of the coldest inhabited places on Earth. Here, winter temperatures can drop below 60 degrees Celsius. Breath freezes mid-air. Trees crack from the cold. Even the eyelashes of locals turn to frost in seconds. Time slows in a landscape carved by ice and silence. It's a reminder that some of Earth's strangest places aren't colorful or glowing, they're harsh, powerful, and uncompromising. From neon acid pools to glowing caves, rainbow mountains, burning blue volcanoes, and frozen horizons, Chapter 3 reveals a world far more alien than we imagine. And yet, this is all Earth wild, unpredictable, extraordinary. But the journey is far from over. The next chapter will take us into places where nature seems not just strange, but impossible. Places that challenge the very definition of what a planet can be. What if I told you that some of Earth's most unreal places don't just look strange, they feel impossible? Places where the horizon bends, where gravity seems confused, and where natural forces create shapes that seem like the work of some ancient civilization or a distant planet. Chapter 4 takes you deeper into the unknown, into landscapes that make you question whether Earth has secrets it still hasn't revealed. We begin in the remote deserts of Namibia, at Dedvle, one of the most surreal scenes on the planet. Imagine white, cracked clay stretching endlessly, surrounded by towering orange dunes that glow like fire under the rising sun. Scattered across this ghostly plain stand the blackened trunks of 900-year-old camel thorn trees, preserved perfectly by the dry air. They look like sculptures, frozen in time. The contrast of bright orange, bone white, and charcoal black creates a world so stark, so still, that it feels like stepping into a painting one brushstroke away from vanishing. In Deadvley, silence doesn't just surround you, it owns the landscape. From desert stillness, we leap to Iceland's geothermal wonder, Hverir, a bubbling, steaming, hissing cauldron of raw planetary energy. Mud pots churn like boiling soup. Fumaroles spit out steam so hot it could melt through skin. The ground is stained, yellow, red, and orange with sulfur and iron. It's a reminder that beneath the calm surface of our planet lies a restless, fiery engine. Walking through Hverir feels like exploring the surface of Jupiter's volcanic moon, Io. Every sound, every whiff of sulfur, every burst of steam is a whisper of the Earth's inner chaos. Then comes a place that feels almost manufactured, even though it's entirely natural. Turkey's Pamukkale terraces. Pure white mineral shelves cascade down a hillside in soft, rounded shapes, each filled with crystal blue water. When sunlight reflects off the surface, the whole mountainside glows like ice, but it's warm, fed by hot springs rich in calcium carbonate. The pools look like frozen waterfalls sculpted by some meticulous artist. Step into one, and the warm, silky water feels like bathing inside a cloud. Pamukkale is Earth showing off. Peaceful, radiant, impossibly perfect. Next, we travel into China's stone forest of Yunnan, a labyrinth of towering limestone pillars that stretch toward the sky like the ruins of an ancient city. Sharp spires rise like frozen waves, carved over millions of years by wind and rain. Walk between them, and you feel dwarfed by rock formations that resemble teeth, towers, and massive blades slicing into the sky. Legends say the forest was once a giant lake, turned to stone by celestial forces. When wind whistles through the narrow corridors, it creates eerie echoes that make the entire place feel alive. From towering stone, we shift to a place where nature has carved not upward, but downward through sculpted sandstone in the American Southwest. Antelope Canyon is a cathedral of flowing stone, carved by flash floods into swirling ribbons of orange and red. Light filters down in narrow beams, turning the walls into fire. Everything curves smooth, fluid, hypnotic. Walking inside feels like stepping into a dreamscape painted by sunlight itself. Even whispers sound amplified between the twisting walls, as if the canyon is listening. And then, from the warmth of sandstone, we plunge into one of the coldest wonders on Earth, Lake Baikal in Siberia. In winter, the lake transforms into a giant mirror of fractured turquoise ice. Massive transparent sheets crack and shift, creating patterns so sharp and clear that they look like broken glass. Some chunks rise vertically, glowing blue when sunlight passes through them. The ice is so thick you can drive across it, but so clear you can see 40 meters down into the frozen abyss. When the lake expands or contracts, it produces thunder-like sounds, deep, echoing booms that travel across the ice and through your body. From here, we drift into Venezuela's Mount Roraima, an ancient tabletop mountain rising vertically from the rainforest, like a lost world drifting above the clouds. Its flat summit is home to carnivorous plants, quartz caves, and species found nowhere else on Earth. When fog rolls across the plateau, it feels like wandering through a primordial landscape, untouched by time. Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World was inspired by this place, and when you see it, you understand why. Finally, Chapter 4 brings us to New Zealand's Moeraki boulders, perfectly round stone spheres scattered across a beach, as if giants once used them for a cosmic game. Their symmetry is astonishing. Huge spherical rocks with smooth surfaces and cracked mosaic patterns. Scientists explain them as concretions formed millions of years ago, but standing among them, watching waves wash over their ancient forms, you feel like you're walking through remnants of an ancient alien ritual. In this chapter, the planet reveals its strangest architectural masterpieces, shapes that defy logic, formations that look handcrafted by otherworldly forces, and landscapes so dramatic they blur the line between reality and imagination. But the journey is only getting stranger. The next chapter will take you into worlds shaped by ice, fire, time, and mystery, places that challenge not just what Earth looks like, but what Earth. Imagine walking into a place so silent, so impossibly empty, that your own heartbeat sounds like an intruder. A place where the horizon bends strangely. Colors shift from one moment to the next, and your mind can't decide if it's witnessing reality or something entirely outside human understanding. That's what travelers describe when they step into some of the strangest landscapes on Earth. Landscapes that look like they were borrowed from distant planet or forgotten dimensions. And few places embody this better than the Great Salt Lake's mirror worlds. The further you walk into the flats, the more the real world dissolves behind you. At first, you see only shallow pools of water scattered across the ground. But then, something bizarre happens. The stillness is so perfect, so absolutely undisturbed, that the sky reflects on the surface like a flawless mirror. Clouds hover beneath your feet, the horizon disappears, and suddenly, you're floating in a world where up and down no longer exist. Even people who have traveled the world say this place feels wrong in a beautiful, mesmerizing way. There's no sound, no wind, no movement, only the rippling colors of sunset, splitting into surreal shades of pink, orange, and violet as they reflect off the salt crystals. You take a step, expecting your shadow to fall across the ground, but it doesn't. It blends into the reflection, vanishing like you were never there at all. Photographers call it Earth's largest natural illusion. Scientists call it an environmental miracle. But visitors? Visitors simply stand there stunned, trying to understand how a place so calm, so strangely peaceful, can feel like standing inside a dream that you aren't supposed to wake from. But the Great Salt Lake isn't just visually unreal. It behaves unreal. Its shallow depth makes it constantly reshape itself. One season, the mirror stretches farther than the eye can see. The next, it fractures into hexagonal patterns formed by evaporating salt. In some rare moments, strong sunlight ignites the surface into a glowing silver white, so bright travelers say they had to look away as if from a spotlight. And then there are the colors that don't belong to any ordinary lake. Certain pockets shift into striking shades of red, orange, even deep purple. These colors come from tiny microorganisms, halophiles, that thrive only in extreme salinity. In simple terms, the lake becomes a living palette, transforming itself depending on temperature, rainfall, and chemistry. One part looks like a Martian sea. Another looks like the surface of an alien moon. And then, just a few miles away, you're back in the crystal clear mirror world. If you walk far enough, you reach areas where the ground beneath your feet feels soft, spongy, almost alive. And yeah, a few steps later, the surface turns rock hard, as if frozen in time. Every inch of this place rewrites the rules of nature. The line between water and land blurs. The sky merges with earth, and you begin to question which one you're standing in, or if you're standing in either at all. Visitors often describe an eerie feeling, the peaceful kind, not frightening. It's the sensation of being in a place untouched by chaos, untouched by noise, untouched by anything human. You're standing inside an illusion, created not by technology or imagination, but by the planet itself. Then there's the moment at dusk, when everything grows still and the surface begins to glow softly as the temperature drops. It's not bright, not dramatic, but gentle, like the world is exhaling after a long day. The reflection becomes clearer. The horizon vanishes entirely. And for a few magical minutes, you're standing in a place where you can see two sunsets at once, one above you and one below your feet. And just when you think you've seen the strangest thing this mirror world can offer, night falls. The stars appear. and the lake becomes a cosmic portal. Every single star reflects perfectly, creating a sky beneath you brighter than the sky above. Travelers have described it as walking inside space, floating between galaxies, and seeing infinity twice. There are places on Earth that shock you. There are places that confuse you. And then there are places like this that simply erase everything you thought you knew about how nature works. The Great Salt Lake doesn't just look unreal, it feels unreal. And once you stand inside its impossible mirror world, you'll understand why people say it's one of the strangest, most otherworldly places our planet has ever created. What would you do if you stumbled upon a place that behaved like a living creature? A place that moved, breathed, shifted, and reshaped itself not over centuries but right before your eyes. A landscape so strange, so impossibly alive, that scientists still struggle to explain it. This is not science fiction. This is the Danakil Depression, one of the most hostile, most colorful, and most alien places on Earth. Many travelers describe their first impression the same way. It felt like stepping onto another planet. Temperatures soar above 50 degrees Celsius. Steam vents roar beneath your feet. And the ground is painted in colors that look too vivid to be natural. But they are. And they create one of the strangest visual experiences on the planet. The closer you walk, the more unreal it becomes. Pools of neon green bubble with acid strong enough to dissolve metal. Patches of burning yellow sulfur rise like frozen flames. Iron deposits bleed a deep, rusty red that looks almost alive. And beneath it all, the crust crackles, stretches and shifts like the earth is trying to breathe through a thin, fragile skin. Here, the ground isn't solid. It's a mosaic of salt, volcanic minerals, and gases trapped beneath the surface. One wrong step can send hot steam bursting upward, or crack open a thin crust, revealing boiling water below. It's a landscape in constant motion, constantly creating and destroying itself. No wonder NASA trains astronauts here. If you want to understand what walking on another planet feels like, this place gives you a taste. The Danakil Depression is also home to one of the world's most active volcanic systems. You can feel it in the ground, hear it in the distant rumble that never quite goes away. Some visitors report a strange vibration underfoot, like the earth is shivering. Others say it sounds like a low growl echoing beneath the surface. And above it, all the air hangs heavy with the smell of sulfur, sharp and metallic, coating everything with a strange, otherworldly scent. Yet, despite its dangers, the Danakil is unbelievably beautiful. Colors blend and clash in ways that feel unreal. The acidic pools reflect the sky like twisted mirrors, bending colors into neon shades. Steam rises in slow, ghostly spirals, and mineral formations tower like sculptures carved by alien hands. Every inch looks like a painting, but a painting from a world that isn't ours. But the strangest part isn't the color, or the heat, or the geysers that erupt without warning. It's the fact that life exists here at all. Tiny microorganisms flourish in water that would kill almost anything else. Scientists call them extremophiles, life forms that thrive where life shouldn't. Some believe these organisms may hold clues to how life could exist on other planets. It's as if the Danakil Depression is Earth's secret laboratory, hidden in plain sight, crafting tiny survivors that defy every rule we know. As the sun sets, the colors shift dramatically. The green turns deeper, almost emerald. The yellow burns into molten gold, and the red grows darker, like drying blood across the ground. Shadows stretch in unnatural directions. The heat begins to fade, but the air still trembles with volcanic energy. Even in the darkness, the landscape glows, faintly minerals catching the moonlight, steam rising like spirits drifting across the land. And in that moment, when everything quiets and the world grows still, the Danakil reveals its final trick. The silence becomes overwhelming. No birds, no plants, No animals, just the soft hiss of steam and the slow bubbling of acid pools. It's a reminder that you're standing in one of the most extreme environments on the planet, a place where life hangs by a thread, yet refuses to surrender. People often say the Danakil Depression is dangerous, and it is, but it's also a masterpiece, one crafted by fire, water, chemicals, and time. A place where Earth shows us what raw creation looks like. A place that reminds us our planet is still alive, still evolving, still capable of producing wonders that defy imagination. Some places are beautiful, some are terrifying, but the Danakil Depression, it's both. And that's what makes it one of the strangest places on Earth. A landscape so unreal, so alien that once you witness it, you'll never forget the feeling of standing face to face with a living world. Imagine a forest where the trees glow like lanterns, the rocks hum with energy, and the entire landscape pulses with a faint, eerie light. A place where nature bends the rules, where biology feels like magic, and where every step reveals something you've never seen before. Welcome to the Crooked Forest, one of Earth's most visually confusing and scientifically perplexing natural mysteries. Your eyes tell you one thing, but your mind tells you another. Dozens of pine trees stand before you, yet not a single one grows straight. Instead, they curve sharply at the base, bending outward like hooks, all at the same perfect angle, all facing the same direction, as if some invisible force grabbed each trunk and pulled it sideways before letting it grow upward again. No matter how many times you look, it never feels normal. It looks engineered, sculpted, manipulated, but the truth? No one knows for sure how these trees came to be. And that's what makes this forest so strangely hypnotic. As you step deeper inside, the air becomes still. Sound disappears. Even the wind seems to hesitate before entering this bizarre woodland. Sunlight filters through the branches overhead, casting long, curved shadows that sweep across the ground like strange markings left by ancient creatures. Some visitors describe feeling watched. Others describe feeling as though they've wandered into a different dimension, one where nature follows rules we don't yet understand. The most popular theories try to explain the curves. Some say farmers from the 1932 intentionally manipulated the trees to build curved timber for boats or furniture. Others believe a heavy snowstorm bent the young trees before they hardened. And then there are the more unusual ideas: powerful magnetic fields, UFO activity, or an unexplained atmospheric phenomenon that warped the wood as it grew. But none of these theories fully match the evidence. The bends are too uniform to be random, too deliberate to be accidental, yet too natural to be man-made. It's that perfect balance of order and chaos that keeps scientists puzzled and travelers mesmerized. Walk farther, and the forest begins to feel even stranger. The silence deepens. The curved trunks appear to twist subtly as you move, shifting perspective like an optical illusion. Each bend seems to point somewhere, as if guiding you toward a place you can't quite see. The forest feels alive, aware, almost purposeful. Some trees form patterns when viewed from above, curves that seem to align into shapes or symbols. And while these alignments are likely coincidence, they add another layer of mystery to a place already overflowing with unanswered questions. But the Crooked Forest isn't only strange in appearance. It also affects the people who visit. Travelers often describe an unexpected sense of calm, like stepping into a world that isn't bound by normal rules. Others report the opposite: a prickling unease, a sense that something is slightly wrong but impossible to explain. The forest is a psychological puzzle as much as a biological one. Then there's the wildlife, or rather, the lack of it. Birds avoid nesting here. Small animals skirt the forest boundary but rarely enter. It's not dangerous, not poisonous, not hostile, just different. And animals somehow seem to know it. The curved trees themselves continue to grow, slowly stretching upward, their shapes becoming even more dramatic over time. Decades from now, the curves may twist even further, transforming the sleigh landscape into something even more surreal. And because the original cause remains unknown, the future shape of the forest is unpredictable. It's a living riddle, growing, aging, changing, and confusing us more with every passing year. As the sun begins to set, the crooked forest slips into an even stranger form of beauty. The bends look sharper, the shadows grow longer, and for a moment, the entire forest looks like it's frozen mid-motion, like a crowd of dancers captured in a single, graceful curve. The warm, evening light wraps around the trees, highlighting the unnatural shapes and turning the forest into something that feels almost sculpted by an artist instead of grown by nature. Visitors leave the crooked forest with more questions than answers. But perhaps that's what makes this place so powerful. Some landscapes amaze us, some shock us. But the crooked forest does something rare. It challenges our understanding of how nature works. It forces us to accept that the world still holds mysteries, that not everything is solved, that even in a century defined by technology, some wonders still defy explanation. And maybe that's exactly why this place matters. Because it reminds us that Earth is full of surprises. Strange, beautiful, impossible surprises. And sometimes, the most powerful experiences come from not knowing the answer. What if you discovered a place so vast, so empty, and so silent that it feels like standing on another planet? A place where the horizon stretches endlessly in every direction, where the ground shines like diamonds, and where the line between earth and sky disappears entirely. This is the Salar de Uyuni, one of the strangest, most surreal landscapes ever created by nature, and perhaps the closest you can get to walking on an alien world without leaving our planet. The first thing you notice is the silence. Not just quiet, but absolute silence. A silence so total, it almost has weight. The air barely moves. There are no trees, no animals, no shadows except your own. Just a blinding white surface stretching farther than your eyes can follow. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel earthly. It feels like the planet forgot to finish this place, leaving behind a flawless sheet of salt that seems to go on forever. Start walking, and the world begins to bend. Distances warp. Objects appear closer than they are. Your sense of scale dissolves. The ground, made of solid crystallized salt, forms hexagonal patterns so perfect they look carved with mathematical precision. Each tile fits into the next, like a giant puzzle created by nature itself. Scientists explain it as the result of evaporation and pressure. But standing here, it feels like something far more deliberate. Then, if the timing is right, the rains arrive, and the entire desert transforms into the largest mirror on Earth. A thin layer of water spreads across the salt flat, creating a reflection so perfect that the sky looks like it continues beneath your feet. This is the moment the sailor becomes something impossible. A place where heaven and earth merge into one continuous, infinite world. Clouds drift beneath you. Mountains float. Storms move silently across the horizon, doubling in the reflection like scenes from a dream. Every step you take creates ripples that seem to move through the sky itself. You're no longer walking on land. You're walking on the edge of reality. Travelers often describe feeling weightless here, as if the mirror makes you forget where you are. The ground disappears. The horizon dissolves. It becomes hard to tell where anything begins or ends. Even your own reflection looks unreal, like a ghost walking beside you. It's one of the few places on Earth that makes you question your senses, not because of danger, but because of pure, overwhelming beauty. Yet beneath this magical surface lies one of the largest lithium reserves in the world, the element powering modern batteries, smartphones, and electric vehicles. Hidden beneath the illusion is a resource shaping the future. The Salar de Uyuni is both a natural wonder and a technological treasure. a reminder that even the strangest places have roles to play in shaping human existence. Move deeper into the salt desert, and you'll encounter an island, but not the kind you expect. Rising sharply out of the endless white is Isla Inkawasi, covered in giant cacti that grow up to 10 meters tall. These ancient plants stand like silent guardians in the middle of the salt sea, some of them hundreds of years old. From the top of the island, the view is staggering. A boundless ocean of white stretching to the horizon, shimmering like broken glass under the sun. During sunset, the salar transforms again. Warm orange light spills across the surface, turning the salt into a soft, glowing field of gold. Shadows become long and distorted, stretching dozens of meters behind you. The temperature drops rapidly, reminding you that despite its beauty, this is a harsh and unforgiving environment. Nights here are brutally cold, and yet the sky above becomes one of the clearest you'll ever see. When darkness fully arrives, the salar reveals its final, most breathtaking secret. With no light pollution for hundreds of kilometers, the stars shine with impossible clarity. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a river of white fire, and when the surface is wet, the reflection doubles at one galaxy above, one galaxy below. You stand suspended between two universes, grounded on a thin sheet of salt, but feeling as if you're floating in the cosmos. No video, no photograph, no description can fully capture the feeling of being here. The Salar de Uyuni is not a landscape, it's an experience. A place that strips away noise, motion, and distraction, leaving only raw existence. It's alien and earthly, simple and infinite, silent yet overwhelmingly powerful. And as you finally leave, one thought stays with you. Earth doesn't just hold beauty, it holds worlds within worlds. And some of them feel too strange, too perfect, too impossible to belong here at all. What if I told you there are mountains on Earth that look like they were sculpted by the hands of giants? Peaks that rise sharply, jagged and impossibly steep, yet covered in surreal patterns that defy ordinary logic? Places where geology meets artistry, where wind and water carve shapes that feel more alien than natural. Chapter 9 takes us to one of these unbelievable landscapes, Zhangye Dangxia landform in China. The first glimpse is enough to stop your breath. Stretching across the horizon are layered hills painted in every color imaginable. Reds, oranges, yellows, even greens. The mountains are like a canvas, each hue forming stripes, waves, and ribbons that twist and fold with precision. From above, it looks like a watercolor painting come to life. But from below, the peaks tower impossibly, their shapes jagged yet elegant, like the ridges were frozen mid-motion. It's Earth's own kaleidoscope, a geological wonder that challenges everything you thought you knew about nature. The story begins millions of years ago. Sandstone and minerals were deposited in layers, compressed over time, then pushed up by tectonic activity. Wind and rain eroded the softer layers, leaving hard edges and dramatic slopes. The result? A living mosaic, constantly changing with sunlight, shadow, and weather. But understanding the science doesn't make it any less magical. In fact, knowing the forces at play makes you marvel at the patience and precision of natural processes that took millions of years to paint the world in such vivid color. The magic of Zhangye Dangxia is not just in its colors, but in its illusions. From some angles, peaks appear to float, disconnected from the ground. From others, the hills fold over themselves in impossible curves, forming patterns that mimic waves, spirals, or even faces. Photographers and travelers report that no two perspectives ever look the same. One minute, you think you understand the landscape. The next, it surprises you with a new formation, a new twist, a new reflection of its alien perfection. Sunrise transforms the Dangxia even further. The low morning sun ignites the reds into glowing embers, while the shadows carve deep valleys and hidden crevices. Mist drifts across the peaks, adding a soft, dreamlike layer that blurs the boundaries between earth and sky. By midday, the colors shift again, The reds deepen, the yellows brighten, and the green patches from sparse vegetation create an uncanny contrast. It is a landscape that evolves constantly, offering a new spectacle every hour. But Zhangye Dangxia isn't just about sight, it is about scale. The mountains stretch across hundreds of kilometers. Walking here, you feel incredibly small. Tiny pathways wind between massive ridges, and every step reveals another pattern, another impossible curve. Even the rocks themselves feel alive, polished by time, wind, and rain into shapes that look deliberate, like sculptures left by some unseen artist. It is a place where Earth experiments with its own creativity, unconcerned with human comprehension. As the sun begins to set, the Dangxia transforms once again. Reds and oranges deepen into rich rusts and burgundies. Shadows stretch across the valleys, exaggerating curves and folds. The peaks glow as if lit from within, and the sky overhead reflects the fiery tones, creating an illusion of fire flowing through the mountains themselves. In that moment, you realize this isn't just a mountain range. It's a living painting, constantly being reworked, repainted, and reshaped by forces beyond our control. The Dangxia also holds secrets beneath its vibrant exterior. Caves and hidden gullies form natural sculptures. Fossils embedded in the rock hint at life that existed millions of years ago. Rare birds and small mammals inhabit the crevices, adapting to a landscape that seems hostile yet endlessly forgiving. Every crevice, every cliff face, tells a story of survival, time, and the relentless shaping power of nature. By night, when the stars emerge, the mountains take on another layer of mystique. Their colors fade into shadow, leaving jagged silhouettes against the sky. But even in darkness, their presence feels alive, almost sentient. It's a reminder that, while the world is vast and often incomprehensible, some places are alive with energy, with history, with the enduring power of Earth's artistry. Zhangye Dangxia is proof that nature is the greatest artist of all. It teaches us that Earth doesn't need human hands to create wonder, that time and pressure can forge beauty beyond imagination, and that some landscapes are so strange, so otherworldly, that they make you question everything you thought you knew about what is possible on our planet. Imagine a place so vast, so intricate, and so perfectly alien that it feels like stepping onto a world entirely separate from our own. A place where natural formations defy logic, where rivers carve impossible paths, and where the sky seems to mirror the earth below. Our journey's final destination brings us to the Dangxia Rainbow Mountains of China's Zhangye region, but in a remote, lesser-known corner where the land itself seems alive, and every moment feels like stepping into a painting made by the planet itself. As you approach, the first thing that strikes you is color. Not just ordinary color, but layers of vibrant reds, oranges, yellows, and greens, each stacked with such precision, it looks as if the mountains were hand-painted over millennia. Sunlight plays across these ridges, shifting hues from crimson to gold in seconds. Even from a distance, the patterns are breathtaking. Folds, waves, and jagged lines forming ribbons of color that ripple through the landscape. It's a spectacle so surreal that even the most seasoned travelers hesitate to believe their eyes. Walking closer, the terrain reveals an almost sculptural quality. Erosion has carved the softer layers of Pruss rock into smooth slopes, sharp ridges, and dramatic cliffs. Some peaks twist into spirals. Others rise like spires puncturing the sky. Small gullies cut deep into the mountains, hiding miniature worlds within the larger landscape. It feels as though the earth itself is showing off, revealing the raw artistry of wind, water, and time. But the Dangxia is not just a visual marvel, it is a tactile, sensory experience. The air is dry, crisp, and slightly warm, carrying the faint scent of minerals baked into the rock. As your footsteps crunch across the uneven terrain, you can hear echoes bouncing off the cliffs, amplifying the sense that you are walking in a cathedral, carved by nature. Every ridge, every curve, seems purposeful, like a carefully composed masterpiece that took millions of years to perfect. Sunrise transforms the landscape yet again. Pale light strikes the highest peaks, igniting the reds into fiery brilliance while the valleys remain cool and shadowed. Mist rises from hidden gullies, softening lines and creating the illusion that the mountains are floating, disconnected from the ground. Photographers chase this light, trying to capture the fleeting moments when the landscape seems to shimmer, but no image can truly replicate the feeling of standing there, watching the world shift in real time. One of the most astonishing aspects is the scale. These mountains stretch for miles, yet every section tells a story. Patterns repeat and diverge, peaks echoing one another, creating an almost hypnotic rhythm. Walking through the valleys, you notice details that might be invisible from a distance. Veins of minerals glowing faintly, textures in the rock that resemble waves frozen in time, and subtle gradients that shift color with the angle of the sun. Every step feels like discovering a hidden chapter in a story millions of years in the making. As day turns to evening, the colors intensify. The reds become deeper, oranges burn like molten rock, and the shadows cast by the ridges stretch impossibly long. The light is softer, warmer, almost magical. Every fold, every peak is accentuated, revealing new perspectives and impossible angles. The landscape doesn't just look alive, it feels alive, as if it's breathing slowly, rhythmically, in time with the universe itself. Nightfall brings its own transformation. Stars emerge in the vast, unpolluted sky, and the peaks fade into silhouette. The vastness of the surrounding desert emphasizes the isolation and majesty of the mountains. In the faint moonlight, the ridges and valleys take on a mysterious aura, like a world suspended between reality and dream. You realize that some landscapes are not just beautiful, they are humbling, overwhelming, and impossible to forget. The Dangxia Rainbow Mountains, in all their surreal glory, teach us a profound lesson. Our planet is capable of creating landscapes that defy imagination. They remind us that Earth is not static. It is an artist, a sculptor, a painter working across eons. And for those who witness it, the experience is transformative, leaving a lingering sense of wonder, awe, and a reminder that the world still holds places that feel entirely alien, utterly magical, and endlessly mysterious. As you take your final steps through this extraordinary terrain, one thought lingers. Earth is full of secrets, hidden corners where reality bends, where nature paints with impossible colors, and where landscapes whisper stories of time, patience, and the raw, untamed creativity of our planet. This is why we travel, not just to see, but to feel, to witness, and to be reminded that even in a familiar world, there are places so strange, so otherworldly, that they redefine the very idea of beauty. As we leave these incredible, impossible landscapes behind, one thing becomes clear. Our planet is still full of secrets. Hidden worlds await discovery, beauty beyond imagination, and mysteries that defy explanation. From the edge of reality to the heart of Earth's wonders, these places remind us that the world is alive, astonishing, and endlessly strange. Keep exploring, because the adventure never ends, and the next unbelievable place is always just around the corner. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague?